Diddy has been denied for the fourth time. A judge has ruled that he will have to wait out his time before trial in a jail cell. You've heard both sides' arguments through my breakdowns in videos for the last month. And if you haven't, that's your fault. Now that this fight has come to a close, let's break down what led to the judge's decision and what exactly it means for Diddy. I mean, other than that, he sits in jail. That's pretty obvious. Just like it's obvious that I'm America's attorney, I'm your go-to source for P Diddy case updates, and I've been a lawyer for over 23 years. So let's jump right into this. As you already know, Sean Combs, aka P Diddy, aka a bunch of other nicknames, has been accused of sex trafficking and racketeering by the Eastern District of New York and has spent the last few months in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, something his lawyers hope to change when they filed their fourth attempt at receiving bail. They argued new information had come to light through discovery that they believe changed Combs' circumstances enough to compel the court to reconsider bail. They also offered a pretty strict bail package. The prosecution countered these arguments by saying no new information had been revealed and, Diddy is dangerous. These are about as high level of recaps as I can give you. So if you want to know the nitty-gritty details, as well as the bombshells that were dropped in some of those filings, I've got a ton of videos that you can check out. After you finish this one. In his 5-page order, the judge explains that the court finds that the government has shown by clear and convincing evidence that no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of the community. The order then lists several reasons to support the judge's finding. First, the judge explains that there is a rebuttable presumption of detention. Rebuttable presumptions in the law are interesting, and they're also a little bit of a lazy way out for the judge, because the principle basically means that, from the judge's perspective, well, I'm going to do the same thing I always do, unless you have some really, really convincing reasons why I should change my mind. But since there's a presumption, I'm going to do things a certain way. If I do, I don't have to explain myself because it's a presumption. And if I don't do what we all thought I would do, then I will explain why. But I doubt I will do that. The presumption here is that those charged with Combs' types of crimes should wait for trial in jail. The order then summarizes the violent crimes Combs is charged with, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Violence which there is evidence of through both text between victim 1 and Combs and the Intercontinental Hotel footage, which are referenced by the judge in the recent order. Now, if you remember from my previous videos, the defense team argued that the video had been edited by the prosecution and also that the text just show a loving yet toxic relationship. Wow. To this point, the judge explains there is compelling evidence of Combs' propensity for violence. The judge then references Combs' unexplained communications with a grand jury witness as evidence that there is risk of witness tampering. There's also the bombshell evidence dropped by the prosecution of Diddy's secret phone calls. The judge writes in his order, his willingness to skirt Bureau of Prison rules in a way that would make it more difficult for his communications to be monitored is strong evidence that the court cannot be reasonably assured as to the sufficiency of any conditions of release, especially given that they occurred when Combs was seeking bail and when he knew that the government's concerns about witness tampering and obstruction were front and center. Also references the defense team's claim that the conditions at the MDC are not fit for trial preparation. In response, the judge writes, given Combs' access to counsel and documents, the firm deadline for the government's discovery, the end of this year, and the time left before trial, over 5 months, Combs has not carried his burden of demonstrating that release from detention is necessary for trial preparation purposes under Section 3142I or the Constitution. Now, unless you're someone who personally collects Diddy memorabilia, you could see this ruling coming from a mile away. Judges don't like to be second-guessed by anyone, especially not themselves. But in this instance, judges really don't like to go second-guess other judges. And the judge for this ruling was not the same as the judge for the initial bond decision. And the bond decision has already been upheld already before. So in reality, the judge is just going through all the basic reasons that the first judge was right, especially in light of the statute that raises the presumption that pretrial detention is the norm for this type of crime, and then combining that with Combs thumbing his nose at the Bureau of Prison rules. It all adds up pretty quickly. The judge offers several more reasons to justify his ruling, but the gist of it all is that the court can't be sure, despite the strict conditions of the proposed new bail package, that the community will be safe from Diddy. Therefore,
motion denied.
So, what does this decision mean for the upcoming trial? Well, there's almost no set of circumstances in which there will be a release of Combs until he has had his trial and he has won. Maybe that's not as big of a deal as it would seem. Discovery closes in 3 weeks, meaning the feds have to turn over everything that they're going to use in the trial by December 31st, and the trial is now less than 5 months away. Now, Combs has already been detained for almost 3 months, so the total commitment is almost 1/3 of the way through. This is an altogether unsurprising ending to this particular battle between the government and Sean Combs, but trust me, there are many more battles to come between now and the trial that's scheduled for May 5th, 2025. So if you want to keep getting all the juicy P Diddy details, like his latest motion to suppress the evidence gathered in the MDC raid in October, make sure you lawyer up with me, America's attorney, by hitting that subscribe button. What are your thoughts on this judge's ruling? Do you agree with his points, or do you think P Diddy should have been granted bail? Drop your pro se opinion down below in the comments and let me know what you think. And as always, I will be back soon with more breakdowns. See you then. I'm your go-to source for TDB. Thumbing his nose at the Brizza. And let me know what you I've never done that before.